morning, good morning, good morning. Can y'all hear the music this time?
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Can you hear me out there?
Gotta be quicker than that. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2. You know what day it is?
Hey, you guessed it.
You was right.
Hump day.
All right. Testing 1 2 1 2.
Check, check. Me.
In the morning.
Hey.
Mike's House Nights 1 2 1 2.
Hey. 3 4.
All right.
Coming through Buddi3.
You sounding crisp. You sounding good.
Hey. Buddi3 like some hot toast.
You know what they say? Ain't nothing but a muffin.
Hey.
Got a lot of butter to go. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul Beeee, Buddi3 Da Gawd, chat chimers, listeners, ghost listeners, man,
Oh, y'all.
video listeners, all kinds of listeners this morning. We appreciate everybody that's joining us so early in the morning on this Wednesday, May 24th, 2023.
Man.
How's your day going so far? How you feeling on this hump day? Let us know.
Yeah. Did you wake up on the right side this morning?
Yes. Or the left side, I guess.
Yeah.
Mika Johnson says good morning. But Miss Erica Feathers up early says good morning. It's Women's Wednesday. That's
Yes,
right.
indeed.
You know what day it is.
Hey.
Pops gives us a good Wednesday morning, First Sky and love from Las Vegas. Appreciate you, Pops. Thanks for coming on through. It looks like Mayor Sanchez is in the chat saying hit the like button on your way in this time. That's what's up.
Okay.
Anyway.
Or the way out. Yeah. All of that.
Mark Manor gives us a good morning over there on YouTube. What's going on, Brother Manor?
Good morning.
What's going on with you? You've been doing a lot of writing and a lot of reviewing and traveling and stuff, man.
Yeah. How's the travels been?
We'll have to have you on the show, man. Let us know your adventures in music and all that good stuff, because you got a lot going on all over the place. So that's what's up. We talked about going over to the Steel House that day. I know that I think Brother Manor went to the opening. Did you go to that opening show? Did you go see the Killers? I think DJ Cramrack Gucci opened for the Killers on the grand opening day over there. So really like that spot, man. Really digging the Steel House.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out. When is that Funkadelic show? When is that coming up?
September. So we get our George Clinton on for real.
Man,
I have to go ahead and get the tickets now.
Man, might have to. Yeah. Big shout out to whoever's come behind that and throwing those events. We're a little skeptical, to be honest. Like, are we gonna have more country downtown? Because
that's what we were thinking.
Man. Yeah, Century League Center. That's all you get.
No, that's not. I mean, Century League Center. Now you still getting the big names over there, the Drakes and the Little Waynes and all that too. You know what I'm saying?
They go out to Lincoln more, so it seems like.
Yeah, I mean they be here too though.
Yeah, well, Lizzo was just there.
Yeah, Lizzo was just there. Mark Manor said I went to the preview show with a band called Blackberry Smoke. It was nice.
Okay.
Mark, it gives me First Avenue vibes in there. You feel the same kind of layout, kind of vibe of the place? Minneapolis legendary First Avenue Club.
Yeah.
Set the street entry.
I mean, I'll just say, man, let's just go ahead and give the flowers. Like OPA, they get down.
Yeah, OPA's doing the thing.
Yeah, and they're doing it for the community. I think they will be bringing back the Miller Park series that they had.
Yep, they are. Yep.
Yeah. So again, doing it for everybody, man. Definitely big shout out to them, and also brother Aaron, who's actually a mentor of mine at Upward Bound. He's working with OPA, doing some outreach, and I think he's behind the hip hop series that they just launched with that event last Friday. So
So
yeah, OPA's got some things going on.
felt like an international city last couple of weeks over here, man.
Hey, Omaha's trying.
Yeah, shout out to OPA. They also been a very good partner of ours all the way back into the Mine and Soul days. So,
Yeah.
so they see the value of local media reaching out to the black community, very heavy, and so on and so forth. So shout out to OPA, man, for doing big
Yeah.
things. Mark Manor says people say it's like a venue in Denver, but yes, on First Ave. Yeah, man, it gives me First Ave vibes for sure. I got to check out. I don't know much about Denver. I got to see what's happening out there. That woman says that Lizzo brought
Lotto.
Lotto. Okay. Obviously, I don't know who that is, but all right.
Actually, she's from the A. She's from down here, a young lady. Actually, she got her start actually with the coalition, with the crew
Really?
down here. Yeah. She was like before she really blew up. She came. Actually, she was on. If you remember, I'm drawing a blank on his name. Oh, Jermaine Dupri. Jermaine Dupri had the
Oh
Netflix
yeah.
show,
Yeah.
the with the kids. She was the one who won that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she won that show and then went on to kind of grow up. And then she came through coalition. And man, it just blew up.
That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Big shout out to Lotto.
Well,
Southside Zone.
that's what's up, man. I really loving this whole. Oh, okay. Yeah. That guy. That's the song. Got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had Mariah Carey on the remix. Doing it
Right.
big.
Yeah, that's a big record right there.
Yeah,
Big
man.
record. Shout out. I mean, I love the fact that we got this Omaha Atlanta connection. There's a lot of stuff coming out of Atlanta in a big way.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that we're making that connection. Also, that LA Omaha connection too. So, and we got venues here now, man. I feel like we got real legit places to play of all sizes.
Mm-hmm.
So if you need a 500 to 700 room, you got that. If you need a 2,000 to 3,000 room, you got that. Then you got CenturyLink Center.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got the outdoor spaces, the pavilion, the Jean Leahy Mall. You know what I'm saying? Like Jazz on the Green space.
Yeah.
Like there's all kinds of spaces out here now to do stuff, even in smaller rooms. Of course, you got Benson Theater, that's 200 people room. A waiting room that's 400 and 500. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Reverbs still
yeah,
out there.
yeah. So I mean, there's no excuse. We ought to have some real live entertainment. So I'll be anxious to see what George Clinton does on that Steelhouse stage for sure.
Man, yeah. Big things coming, man. Big things. So who are some artists that y'all would like to see?
That is the question, man.
Yeah. Who would y'all like to see?
If ever we need a Chad Chimers answer,
I know Erica was the big one last year. Everybody was going crazy about Erica.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's still in the works, by the way, too, for sure. Pops said he loves Lizzo. I didn't know. Oh, that's what's up, Pops. Okay.
Are you familiar with Lizzo?
Yeah, of course. I mean, she's too big of a star now for nobody. Everybody know who Lizzo is now.
Yeah, I'm just talking about like her performance. Like a lot of people don't know she pull out the flute. She get down with the arp and things like that. Like she's a real musician.
She's a real deal musician for sure. I wasn't really a big Lizzo fan in the beginning, and then I think when About That Time came out, I was like, okay, I see what she's doing. That's what's up. And then I kind of went back and listened to some of the rest of the catalog, and she got the danceable hits, man. And then got the message and got her whole swag and her whole everything, and not to mention one of the hardest working women in show business for real.
Oh yeah,
she be working.
Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm crazy about the music, but definitely a fan of just her.
Yeah. Judy Princess said she wants to see Chance out here.
The rapper.
There you go.
Okay, Judy. Okay, Cocoa Butter Kisses. Okay.
Mark mentions there's a Maha pop-up happening at Jean Leahy Mall this Thursday, and they'll be announcing some things down there that will be interesting. Yeah, I heard about that. I think Crab Gucci's DJing there too, right? And some other
bands. Where isn't she DJing?
Shit, man, I'm trying to tell you. I told y'all a couple years ago she's my favorite DJ in Omaha. And now, now she got some real visibility happening for real. Marlon Harrison says I would love to see Jill Scott.
Okay,
I second that emotion.
Yes,
for real.
Yes,
for real. I did see her once. You talking about a powerful performance? Bad. Love to see that. I'd love to see. I'd love to see D'Angelo with his band with
The Vanguard.
Vanguard, man. That would be dope. A Vanguard, like a D'Angelo Vanguard like rock show.
Mm-hmm.
Be super tight. Speaking of rock shows too, I gotta shout out my man Renee Benton. That's Omaha's own Renee Benton. He's gonna come out here a night of progressive rock and sophisticated funk. He's got some players coming in town. Got some players he's playing with in town as well. That's gonna be at the Benson Theater on June. Let's see, May the 27th. So coming up this week. So definitely check it out, bensontheater.org. Man, he's a world renowned guitar player from Omaha. Kind of went out and did his thing all around the world and came back, and I was going to be showcasing some stuff. So I'm helping with the show. So it's like this is one of those ones that's going to push Benson Theater to the limit as far as the sound and the lights are concerned, because he's used to a real deal show. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, definitely check that out, man. Support. I hit the black community up, so a lot of the black players up, and they knew who he was. Some of them grew up with him and all that. So everybody's kind of excited about this show, man. So definitely check out Renee Benton on the 27th this month, coming up in a couple of days. As a matter of fact, 3 days.
Yeah, this weekend.
This weekend, man. Check it out. bensontheater.org. Get your tickets for Renee Benton concert, man. We're gonna have a good time. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm definitely excited when I come. I'm gonna have to make it past the Benson Theater when I get there. Because last time I was there, I don't think it was open last time I was there.
Yeah, we hadn't opened yet.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Man, wait till you walk in that joint.
Man. Yeah, I got a couple things to do, a couple people to see, a couple places to be. So yeah, I'll be there, y'all.
Pop says I would love to see Nick West. She is currently doing some recording with Larry Graham.
Interesting thing about Larry Graham. I just found out that was Drake's uncle.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Did not know that.
Did not know that. Another thing I did not know about Larry Graham, he has a house on Kauai where I was living for 9 years and didn't know he was there. So yeah, I'm glad I didn't, because I've been knocking on his door. Let's play some
Larry,
let's get funky. Rose Review says A-Ball MJG. That would be a dope show.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So we got folks that we got some folks on here that want to see some not the newest, but
too old.
Not too old, right?
Yeah. I mean, like Cool in the Game, they still doing it.
Yeah. Mark Bear said Larry Graham got Prince into knocking on doors for Jehovah.
Oh God.
Sure did.
Dang, that's crazy. That's crazy.
The elder, brother Graham. That's right.
Elder Graham.
He's supposed to be. I think he's doing some touring right now too. I think I saw something on him rolling around, man. He gonna funk until he's done, bro. Like that's all there is to it. And it's a masterclass when you're watching him. It's he's one of the inventors of it all. So that's what's up. It is 7:13 already. We just kind of like hanging out this morning. Appreciate everybody that's jumped into the chat, the fam this morning. How y'all doing? Let us know how you're doing today. And if your week's going well, it is Wednesday. We will have Precious McKesson on. We'll be politicking with P a little later on today. Kimber Snipes gave me a call last night, said she was out of town and had some meetings around this time, so she could not be on today. So we won't be seeing her. Oh, good one, Judy Prinzler. Steve Lacy.
Hold on, hey Judy, just send me your playlist. Just send me your playlist. Just go ahead and send that.
Yeah, I know a couple people in my family that definitely would get down with that show. So
man, I mean, Chance, Steve Lacy, like, are you listening to my playlist? Is that
she kind of working? She's kind of working a tour together a little bit. Like,
man, that actually would be a nice lineup. Throw a little Joey Badass in there. Okay,
man, oh, that'd be dope. That'd be super dope. Yeah, I love it. I love it. Lennar. Okay, I'm not familiar with that one.
Okay, that's a new one. Okay,
that's what's up.
Yeah, we could talk about music all day though. If you have any plans this weekend, let us know what's going on. If I'm not mistaken, is it Memorial Weekend this weekend? Is that next weekend?
I don't keep up with it. I think so. I think so though. Yeah. I think
okay. Well, let us know if you have any plans. Of course, not necessarily in Lamar. Okay.
Okay. Got it.
But yeah, not necessarily an extended haps, but if there's some things going on, we will let you know about it. But yeah, as Paul mentioned, we will have a special guest. I guess just about 15 minutes into the hour, we can dive into what we're talking about today before we launch the show. Yes, Dami and JD Beck, man.
That's who I want to see more.
Yeah. But anyway, We do have some things to talk about, man. Not just music, but also sports, man. Big shout out to Houston Alexander making his way, kind of making a return to the professional fighting arena. Of course, he has some success as an MMA fighter, but also recently been reaching some success in the bare knuckle fighting arena, and also in the midst of that, still teaching the kids, man. So,
I'm saying more importantly, man, it's all
yeah,
about that
yeah,
culture shock. Culture
yes,
shock.
yes.
Up.
So yeah, we'll kind of talk about some things that Houston is doing. Definitely an Omaha gym. Speaking of, favorite DJs in the area, big shout out to Houston. But also we do have some serious things to get into. Of course, we will continue. It's kind of unfortunate the conversation on Monday we couldn't dive deeper into it with the brothers that we wanted to. Again, talking about mental health, but we'll definitely talk about some things that Douglas County is doing in regards to mental health. Of course, that new youth center is on the way. There are some changes, some resolutions that have been reached that we'll dive into. Then, of course, a new $33 million addition to the Omaha jail, which is, again, estimated to be for mental health. So we'll talk about that plan coming up and exactly what to expect. And, of course, we're going to have some questions about that. So we'll definitely talk about that. Let your mind be free. Let your voice be heard on that situation. And also, we are about actually creeping up on the 3rd year anniversary memorial of the killing of James Scurlock. And there are some stories being told, and some people just kind of looking back at what happened at that time and that point in Omaha history. The Lost Sons of Omaha is providing an in-depth look at that case and exactly what was going on in the community around that time, and then some of the details of the case. I do believe this is a book that's coming. So actually, a New York Times reporter is telling the story. So some heavy hitters in the world of journalism, exactly, looking at what's going on in our community, or at least what has happened. So we'll definitely be looking into that situation. And then, of course, looking nationally, there's some things to look out for. Of course, 2024 is coming up. The presidential election is right around the corner. And of course, we've been looking at some local elections, but we definitely have to be aware of who's running. Of course, DeSantis, Elon Musk. Yeah, we'll talk about it. All that and more. Of course, if there's anything on your hearts, your minds that you would like to discuss, feel free to let us know. Jump into the chat. Let your mind be free. In the meantime, in between time, Paul B.
Yo,
Let's go.
Let's do it. What up, what up, what up, what up? Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio. First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B, the Dove, Buddi3 Da Gawd,
Hey.
chat chimers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Thanks for everybody that's joined us. 630 crew. How was the mix this morning? Let me know over there on the radio. You can go to firstskyOmaha.com, hit the listen button, or ask your Amazon Alexa to play First Sky Omaha Radio. It's a great celebration of black music all day, every day. It's going down, man. Really appreciate everything. Speaking of music, Miss Erica Fell says, I had to take a call, but I would like to see Chloe to come to Omaha. Also,
Okay.
or Summer Walker.
Okay, just Chloe, not Hailey, just Chloe.
I don't know who Chloe or Hailey is, bro.
Chloe and Hailey Bailey, the two sisters.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. That'd be
Yes,
dope. That'd
the
be
Bailey
dope.
twins.
Just Chloe though.
Yeah, that's just Chloe.
I really like this line of questioning here. I really appreciate everybody that's putting in the chat who they want to see come to town. Ron's reviews. I'm surprised you didn't say Ice-T, bro. I think I don't know if he's still performing, but we might even have an end on talking to him and bringing him in.
Yeah,
So,
or short.
As a matter of fact, Ice Cube's gonna be in town too. Now that we're talking about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. He says Holly is busy under the sea. Under the sea.
That's funny. But yeah, appreciate everybody that's coming on today. Of course, it is Wednesday. We'll be expecting Precious McKesson. We'll be politicking with P coming up, so stay tuned for that. We'll be talking about that. And I want to give a special shout out to Marianne Williams, who was always putting in the chat updates about the bills and things that we're trying to follow, and all those things in the legislature, and dropping those in Friends of First Sky Omaha. If you're not a member of Friends of First Sky Omaha, you should go join the group.
Yeah.
A lot of the conversation is happening when we're not live over there, and a lot of the news that we pull is from there as well. So once again, thank you very much for everybody that's joined in. There you go, body count. There you go. I knew it. I knew it. Yeah, man. Yeah. We'll continue to talk about this all throughout the show, because now a bunch of stuff's coming to my mind who I'd love to see. Marlon Harrison says I would love to see reggae and dancehall artists. Yeah.
Okay.
Too, man. I don't want to see some real roots, real roots though.
Okay.
Yeah, it'd be dope.
Man, might have to holler at Rasta Cora, see what we can make happen. It's not only the Omaha Atlanta, there's the Omaha Jamaica pipeline too.
There you go, for sure. Very, very true.
Yeah, man.
Right on, man. Lots happening, man. I'm hoping that we'll get a stage up this summer or next at the latest, and really start throwing some shows and bringing some awareness live. We got this idea for this First Sky Omaha stage, and we'll put it out there to see what you guys think of it about it too. But we're gonna be bringing artists, bringing politicians to speak. We're gonna be bringing activists to come and rally. A lot of that type of thing. Pop said I'd really love to see Anderson .Paak. Anderson .Paak is the new funk.
Man.
Yeah.
Man.
By himself, he sold out Red Rocks last year by himself. Just the boy's bad.
Yeah. There's not much more you can say. But don't forget, man, Music Soul Child is coming. Like, that's something that is happening. And Music still got it, man. Again, him and Hit Boy, they got a new project out. It's dope. It's dope. Yeah.
Life Jennings is dope too. Life Jennings is dope.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, when M1 was out here, he was trying to get it hooked up because him and Life Jennings got a song together. So he was like, maybe I'll be back around this time. Maybe jump on,
Maybe.
So you never know. It might be happening. Also, Angeline and Timeless. I gotta reiterate, man. We got some local talent. Angeline and Timeless is a serious band. Every time I see them in any shows, even shows with big names like this, sometimes they hold it down and steal the show.
Yeah.
It's good.
Honestly, though, artists like that kind of make me mad. It's like, why are you still in Omaha? Hit the road, leave. You gotta hit the road. You got to.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. But thanks for everybody who's joined this on this subject, and keep on throwing your stuff in. I would love to hear who you would love to see. Especially cats like Mark Manor that get out to shows a lot. You've been posting about some of the dream shows that you've seen. So, what are some of the other ones that you wish could happen and that would come through Omaha? That'd be great. Every ticket is going to be high. She said Anderson .Paak tickets are high as a draft nose. every ticket be high these days, man. There's got to be something that's going to be done about that situation. There's a Taylor Swift people already got in trouble.
Oh, man.
They had to lower them tickets.
Yo, the Swifties had Atlanta on lock, like literally. It was gridlock downtown. The subways were full. Yeah, the Swifties took the city over.
I read this article about how they all the barbershop or all the beauty salons triple booked, quadruple booked because people were coming down and trying to get these Taylor Swift hairdos.
Like the same.
Oh, so it was like throughout the years, the hairdos that she had throughout the years, people were coming and asking for it and getting ready for that show. So they were talking about how the local economy around a Taylor Swift show explodes in every direction, from
restaurants,
hotels, hair salons, all of it. Dude, Pops knows about Pops, you know about that slapback. I'd love to see slapback again too, man. If I ever get back out to California, I'm definitely gonna look them up and see if they got a show.
Okay.
Holding the funk down, bro. Straight up funk band, holding it down for real.
Look into it.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm hoping that Steelhouse and some of these places around here can do the same thing, man. Hold some of this economy, blow some of this economy up by bringing some people into town. Yeah, Janelle Monáe is on one these days, bro. She's trying to get her Megan Thee Stallion on in a big way, running around naked.
I mean, you can go back to the the Pink days, like she does that.
But yeah, she's I saw her perform. She actually came to Omaha during her first album tour, and that was super huge. Her hometown is Kansas City, so
Janelle Monáe
be close. Yep,
I didn't know that. Well, of course she has roots down here too in Atlanta.
Right, and and of course she was up in Minneapolis for a minute, messing with Prince. So
I mean, you can hear that.
Yeah. So yeah, that'd be dope. I'm sure Janelle Monáe is the way that they're promoting her latest album. She'll probably end up being a Stillhouse or something like that for
Oh
sure.
yeah, I mean, yeah.
Keep your eye on that. Anyway, but yeah, man, I'm hoping that that's the case, and I wish that there was like I've always wanted to open up like a spot in North Omaha that could be an after hours jam spot for
Hmm.
for musicians that come to town. We came up with the idea when the Jewel was being was coming up and being constructed. They reached out to the black community about teaming up with the black community. This is why I don't mess with the Jewel. Y'all always ask me about why I don't go to the Jewel.
Story time.
Right, right. They made some, they were trying to get down with the black community. First of all, the name is from the black community. The Jewel family, allowed him to allow this man to put that into place, and it was supposed to be a black jazz club in the beginning, and so and part of the thing that they wanted to do by coming to the black community and kind of asking permission and kind of saying, hey, we'll team up and we'll do this and do that, is we were supposed to be able to have a spot at the Love's Jazz Center that would be an after hours situation for musicians that came to town, played at the Jewel, and then went to go jam with the local musicians afterwards. But none of that ever came to fruition. None of the promises that were made ever came to fruition. And that place quickly turned. They brought on cats like Curly Martin. They brought some jazz out here from New York, and quickly after a year's time, the whole situation changed up, and it's no longer a jazz club. They're not really representing the black community. Nobody who is a part of that program is from the black community, and it's kind of messed up. Nowadays they're trying to first of all keep the doors open, and they realize that it's probably worth their while to have some more black artists in there. So Angeline and Timeless play over there, and Big Wade and Black Swan Theory, and those guys play over there. And there's a jam session. As a matter of fact, Big Wade has a jam session every Wednesday night over there now.
Hmm.
So there's a lot going on with the black community in the Jewel now for bands that exist. But still there's a lot of questionable things going on as far as pay, as far as all kinds of stuff is concerned. So I don't necessarily tell people don't go and don't support that stuff, because I always want everybody to go support my brother Big Wade, especially when they do their jam sessions and stuff like that. But just keep it in mind, man, that you walk into the Jewel. There's a mural on the wall of Louis Anderson when you walk in. It's supposed to be a black club. Where's the blackness? Where's the blackness?
That part, and we're not even gonna get into getting the ballroom back in the family.
Tony Johnson 12 said North Omaha always letting people play us. When we gonna learn?
That part.
Let's go ahead and jump into it. Pop says Slapback is performing a couple times a month in Cali, and Jara has been very ill, but he's back performing with the group now. Yep. I've been keeping up with him, man. He's this brother has a throat cancer and is going through all kinds of stuff, but still trying to get up and funk in a big way.
Yeah.
So
that's funky in itself,
man. So yeah, man. Shout out to Jar. He's one of my funk heroes, man. That dude is off the chain, bro. Slapback is something else. Definitely check him out. That woman says Mystic and Guapole together.
Okay.
She's taking it back. She's trying to have a grown folks concert.
Hey.
Okay. That's what's up. Esperanza Spalding, I would love to see her. Yeah. You got to stop. We're going to talk about music.
Man, yeah, we can do it all day. Like I said.
Let's go ahead and jump to some stories, buddy. What's on the house?
Yeah. We what else is funky is doing it for the kids, man. So we'll start there. Speaking about Omaha native MMA fighter, man, just all around local legend, Houston Alexander. Of course, he's doing it for the kids with the Culture Shock School Tour, which is started as a tool to teach kids about hip hop, but it's turned into something more. This is reported by KMTV 3. His foundation, which has visited schools locally, and 3 News Now's anchor Mary Nelson worked together. And doing at Pawnee Elementary, there were important lessons being learned, including the value of being willing to just try something new. Actually, a 3rd grader responded saying, "Oh, it was really cool. My teacher did the gritty too." So again, just the kids really loving it. Houston and his foundation, they are looking to take the program to more schools across Nebraska in the Midwest. He does a lot of introduction to just the hip hop culture. Definitely, again, not only an MMA fighter, a DJ, but also a b-boy, if you will. which side note is very huge that b-boy and b-girl and breaking it will now be an Olympic sport, which I'm
Yeah, I
looking
forgot
forward to
about that.
that. Yeah. So big shout out to again, brother Alexander, for just keeping the culture alive and doing it for the kids. Of course, we need more community engagement with the children. That's really the important thing. We talked about the schools. Of course, we're definitely looking forward to speaking with Brianna Full to see what's going on with the schools. But again, these programs go a long way. We talk about this preschool to prison pipeline. Again, on the other end of it, a way to stop that are programs like what Houston Alexander is doing. Again, just engaging, just talking to, doing something with the youth. We definitely need more and more of that, especially from those in the community, man. So big shout out to Houston, because on the other end, there are some conversations about where you might go if again you don't, or where some of our youth are ending up. Ain't even no might about it, where some of our youth are ending up as far as this juvenile system and this juvenile justice system. They're building more beds, more facilities, and again, what about the programs? So there is a debate going on in Douglas County Board, who met yesterday, as reported by Channel 3. There are some discussions and possibly some programs that will be taken away. Contracts related to new youth center in Douglas County, of course, were up for discussion yesterday. Those contracts include resolutions to end two agreements for detention services, setting the daily rate for services and addressing the capacity, which has been a huge issue when talking about this new youth detention center, which again is why programs like what Houston is doing and more to engage the youth is important, because we need to find a way to slow down the rate of youth that are going into the detention center. Again, several people share concerns about the new center because it will be smaller than the current one, which will cause unforeseen issues. Like, we don't even really know the can of worms that this will open. And quite interestingly, new sheriff Aaron Hansen is speaking up on the issue, saying it's unfortunate that some people have to be detained. And he says it's unfortunate that we don't have appropriate, secure alternatives to detention infrastructure in this community. Do we need those? Yes. I urge you to oppose items 1, 2, and 4. Our community and your people in need deserve better. However, again, there is some opposition from Creighton law professor Joy Sutter, who's the director of the Juvenile Justice Clinic at Creighton University. She says children who are placed on probation have the right to have services that will help to rehabilitate them. The Douglas County Youth Center and any detention center, by statutory definition, is not a placement for purposes of rehabilitation. The purpose of detention is to be short term. So again, what options are out there, what programs are out there, what services are out there, how are we really serving our youth? Again, one of the main things that we're saying is, for you to really get any kind of programs, any kind of service, any kind of attention as a youth, seems like you got to have a case.
You gotta get in trouble first.
You got to get in trouble. So again, that's why what Houston Alexander is doing, actually going into the schools, touching the children, inspiring them. That's huge. That's huge, and we definitely need more of that because it seems like they're not getting that attention. They're not getting those services until, unfortunately, it's too late.
Yeah, it is. Houston Alexander doing his thing, man. 51 years old, still whooping on MMA.
Man,
And there's our own Michelle Trosclair there with the Culture Shock Tour T-shirt on. Man, they're doing big things out there. I'm looking at Houston standing in front of this billboard here where he's teaching about who's the first female MC. That's MC Shot Rock up there. He's teaching all these kids, man, all these schools, going to all these schools and showing them what's up. So just shout out to him on that, man. And somebody who's trying to do some preventative work so that the kids don't end up in these juvenile justice centers. And that's really what it's all about as far as we're concerned here. So,
yeah, man.
yeah.
I mean, just the culture. Like, what is the culture? You know what I'm saying? Just think about the name, Culture Shock. And again, I'm tapped into the DJs that are down here that are, actually working with some of the artists that are on the radio and things like that. And it's very interesting to hear these conversations. Like, people are aware of the culture. It was just Monday, a teenager down here got killed outside of a recording studio.
Yep.
Yeah, in Atlanta. So again, people are aware of the culture. People are aware of the impact that the music is having on the youth. So for, again, Houston to be pushing that side of it, the real MCs, the real message, the real because that era of hip hop was all about partying, peace, positivity. We need to bring that back.
Knowledge,
Exactly,
knowledge itself.
exactly. We need to bring that back.
Speaking of bringing somebody back, we got our special guest, Precious McKesson, waiting in the wings.
Hey.
And we're going to go ahead and bring her in right now. We'll pick up this conversation a little bit later after we speak with Precious. We're politicking with P, ladies and gentlemen. Precious McKesson, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Hold on, y'all. This sun
Yeah,
is
I was
right.
gonna say that sun ain't blinding you.
The sun is shining upon her this morning, for real.
It just smacked her in the face.
That just came out of nowhere. I literally just opened the window so I could have some sunshine, and that dang.
It's too much. Too much.
Like it smacked you in the face there, son.
Man. Had the spotlight on.
It's disrespectful. How you doing this morning?
I'm good.
Yeah,
Good.
if I'm not mistaken, we didn't have you last week. So yeah, definitely good to be with you. How's everything? Last couple weeks been?
Good. Pretty good. I'm in the lovely city of El Paso this morning. And so, it's early here. So I'm trying to get prepared as we kick off our 48th annual Neighborhood USA conference.
Okay.
Wow.
New sir. So what are some of the topics? Let's jump into that. Like what are, I guess, the concerns of neighborhoods? What are you addressing this year?
So, hold on just a second, y'all.
Okay.
Hold on.
She got a lot going on.
Yeah, I like that map background though. I like that.
Yeah.
I had to give my my book.
Oh, okay. The camera notes.
Yeah. No. The pamphlet for it. So we have a lot of issues that are going around in the neighborhood. But I think we have
you covering the mic up with your pamphlets. So, yeah. There you go.
Got it. So we have what we do like actual workshops in like tracks, and so some of the tracks are safe and beautiful neighborhoods, crime and safety, and urban revitalization, supporting community vulnerabilities, so lifestyle, diverse, equitable, and inclusive communities, mapping power for community change through civic empowerment, so giving leadership and engagement, and then digital communities, so teaching them about the technology. Nice. So we have many workshops that kicks off tomorrow. So we'll have workshops all day tomorrow, all day Friday, and then we'll have we'll honor awards. So we do best neighborhood program, also neighborhood of the year. So people across the nation can submit their programs that they did. And then we'll have a host of judges that will judge them, and then they win cash prizes as well as recognition. Also, we do one for newspapers. So if they do like a digital or a print newsletter, we judge that, and they receive awards for that. We'll have people from HUD here giving information. We have an exhibitors room where we have a host of exhibitors. We have tons of sponsors. It's a big conference. We have over 650 conference attendees this year.
Now, see, that's how to do the neighborhood stuff right there. I love that. That's super inspiring that they're going with that level. I mean, that's when you're really valuing a setup, a system, is when you can have awards, and when you can, you got associations coming together. You can recognize who's doing good work. Those points that you laid out in the beginning are reasons or points for change. Like it's I didn't really get that it's really showing like what a neighborhood association can do, what you should be doing in it.
It shows what they can do, and it also shows how the city can support neighborhoods more, and how they can invest in those communities, because again, this is what it's about. Our very own Kimra Snipes she's actually a workshop presenter. So she's doing a workshop during the conference. One thing that touched me yesterday was when I got here, I went over to the convention center to just kind of see the setup. And they had this wall, and it said NUSA 2023. And it was actually from the kids' point of view. And these kids who were from throughout El Paso, some live in Juarez in Mexico, and they come over the border to come to school here in El Paso. But these children wrote letters about what neighborhoods mean to them. And there was one letter that stood out the most to me, and it literally had me in tears, because at first they were like, oh, should we put this letter up? And then they said, no, we're going to put it up. And I said, yeah, we want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to know what's going on in the neighborhoods. And the letter was, a young man was talking about how they go to school, they live in Juarez, but they come to school in El Paso, and that they have to pass all the drug dealers and all these different things and all the crime and stuff. And so it just says that it does, crime just doesn't happen in urban community. It happens all over the nation, and kids are being impacted. And so that right there just shows that we need to continue the work that we're doing when it comes to neighborhoods, because our kids are watching, they are being impacted by it, and we just need to have stronger stronger presence and making sure that we're giving these kids a actual chance of having a good
Yeah,
future.
neighborhood by neighborhood too.
Man.
Yeah.
Linking all the neighborhoods together. Huh?
Yes, definitely love that. Love thy neighbor, and we this has been a rough last 2 weeks, especially with Title 42 ending, because El Paso is a major crossing, and we worked with the city of El Paso, and for 1 minute we didn't know if we was going to have this conference, and I remember talking to the the event planner, and she was so nervous, and she said, Precious, she was like, what happens if they have to use the convention center, because the convention center was number 4 on the list to be used to house anybody that came across for the overflow. And so I told her, I said, you know what, I said, what we'll do, we will go ahead and we will have the conference, and we will show up as neighbors like we're supposed to do, and we'll take care of that like we're supposed to, and we'll turn it into a humanitarian and really support the city of El Paso.
That's a beautiful thing, man. That's huge.
That is huge.
It's huge.
Title 42, just to remind people.
Yeah,
that,
what is that?
Mm-hmm.
Title 42 is basically the ending of where, it's a law that was in place that basically kept people from being able to come over during COVID. And so that was a law that was in place, and then it ended to where anybody could come over the border, basically opened the borders, basically.
Okay. I did want to round back around to something that we were talking about, and you mentioned as far as programs. Of course, we were giving a shout out to Brother Houston, and just recognizing the need for programs in community, and definitely programs that engage youth and families. Are you familiar, or could you tell us some of the programs that might be awarded, or some of the things that you're hearing from the NUSA network that could work in Omaha, or that you're just excited about?
I mean, as president, I read every single. Oh man, did I just drop off?
No, you good. You good.
Oh, okay. I'm like, oh man, my computer. I can't see y'all anymore. Hold on, y'all. So as president of NUSA, I read every single entry that comes through.
Okay.
And we've had some good the ones that really stand out to me are the ones where you bring in different resources to different communities. Like, for instance, there was some that assisted with food, assisted, sometimes people don't understand, I should say understand, but sometimes there's times where people don't realize the resources that they can get. And then they're struggling to get rental assistance. And so these neighborhood associations partner with other organizations to be able to help. Yes. We had some where a lot of arts. Now there's a neighborhood association in Issaquah, Washington. And they have this art council, and they actually come every year, and they do this big art show, and they put on this different arts festival for the kids in the middle of their actual community in their neighborhood. And they've actually taken a house and turned it into an art council house. And so those are different things that you see. I really love how they're engaging more kids in their projects. It's not just about, we're just throwing this thing. No, it's engaging the youth, and then really giving the youth an opportunity to be a part of it. There's another one in Woodlawn, Alabama, in Birmingham, Alabama, 5 Points West. They took an alleyway and turned this alleyway that was infested with drugs and crime, and they made it into an art. They put murals, they put planters. So when you walk in it, now you can't even drive down it. You have to walk down this alleyway. Gosh, there's so many. I'm trying to think of one in University of Missouri Extension out of Missouri. I'm trying to think what city it's in. I can't remember the city, but Mr. David Burton, he has a thing where they did it during COVID, where each neighborhood basically had a neighbor day, and they would just sit in their driveways or in their cul-de-sac or in their neighborhoods, and they would have like a potluck, and they would just talk about the different things that are going on in the neighborhood and host different things. So so it's pretty cool, really cool.
Yeah, love it.
I can go for days.
I love it. Bring all those examples back, man. Jot them notes down, like Tony Johnson saying, we need all that in Omaha. Anybody bringing those programs here? We got.
Well, these are we share them out, and then we've also hosted. Omaha has hosted the NUSA conference. We hosted the NUSA conference back in 2017.
Oh, okay.
That's when I got involved, and Nona was one of the leads on that conference because we actually bidded with the city of Omaha to bring the conference here. So Narita Johnson, as well as Kyle Keith and some others, were key players when they hosted in Houston. And so Nona has been a presence in that conference has been a presence in the NUSA conference for many years. I think Omaha, El Paso actually will possibly come close to beating Omaha with the most attendance because Omaha had a record attendance here when we hosted the conference.
Beautiful.
So hopefully, and we're looking to bring. I'm honestly looking to bring the conference back to Omaha in either 25 because we're still looking for a host city for 24. But definitely for 25 because we'll be in Fort Worth in 26.
Okay. Well, I've spent a lot of time in Texas.
Yes. Well, only reason why we're coming back to Texas is because during COVID, we had to cancel their conference and they had to do it virtually.
Okay.
And so because of that, we promised them that we would at least bring it back. But our goal is to actually take it east. I would love to take it east in 24. And so today as a board, we'll meet in about an hour and we'll start to strategize on how we're going to what we're going to do to bring it in 24. Most likely we're going to take it east. We were looking in Ohio, an area. So we're trying to go to different areas of the of the nation, and I really want to make sure that we're hitting areas that sometimes don't get representation, especially when it comes to neighborhoods.
Yep. Kimber Snipes is giving us a good morning. She says she's headed to El Paso, stuck at the airport with technical difficulties.
Man.
So yeah, you were saying we mentioned you earlier. Kimber said, Precious said that you were one of the presenters there at that El Paso deal that we're talking about here. So that's really interesting. I was kind of piqued my interest. I'm sitting here daydreaming about what can we do in our neighborhoods. All these great ideas about what can happen and how far you can go out with that.
Get your mind going.
I'll definitely share the different programs. I'll share after the conference over, we normally do a wrap up and then we highlight all the programs. I'll make sure that y'all get a link to see those different programs. But just know these programs, this conference is heavily African American based.
Really?
Birmingham, Alabama brings. We got delegates from Birmingham, Alabama, Syracuse, Charleston, Columbia, South Carolina, the Bahamas, Japan. Let me see, Nebraska, Washington. We have a lot of diversity, but this conference is really something that's really special to me. And this is my. I've been on the board since 2018, but this is my first year as president. Last year I was as vice president, so I'm very honored and really excited to represent Nebraska.
Beautiful.
And Birmingham do come deep, baby. They're one of my biggest delegations. They come with 100.
Shout out to the ham. Shout out to the ham. Actually, Chat Chimer, New Najee L. You might see his name every once in a while, but he's from Birmingham. Shout out to the ham.
I tell all the time I'm gonna come back and work down there. I'll be telling the mayor all the time. It's like, you just tell me when you're ready.
Atlanta too. It's only 2 hours away from the ham.
Yeah, I lived in Birmingham.
Okay.
In Birmingham.
Yeah. But I am curious. Speaking of cities, as far as all these programs. How much, are you seeing cities kind of invest in these neighborhood efforts and really with Omaha, how much more could Omaha be doing as far as investing in neighborhoods?
You could do so much more because I'm gonna use Birmingham as an example because I've kind of followed what they're doing. Birmingham uses a lot of community block grant dollars to invest in their neighborhoods. They have over 99 neighborhoods in the city of Birmingham, and they really support their neighborhoods. Like, it's in their city budget to be able to support these neighborhoods. So it's not that they're just doing grants. They actually, so much money is allocated to their neighborhoods division, and then they disperse it to those neighborhoods to do those different projects. I think we have the money to do it. I just still feel like the city of Omaha gives pennies when it comes to supporting neighborhoods and neighborhood associations and alliances. See, the difference of us, we have the alliances, which basically support the neighborhood associations. But I think if we were to be able to say, okay, each alliance is allotted this amount, and then the alliances then work with the neighborhood associations that are active, and be able to say, okay, this is how much is allocated to each neighborhood association, and working on those. I think we will see so much more. But again, I just feel like it's a little bit of money, and it's a little bit of money that people are having to I'm not saying fight for, because I don't think the neighborhoods are fighting for it. It's just trying to find the different programs that are being sustainable. I mean, I love the community gardens. Don't get me wrong, I love them. But I think we're now seeing too many community gardens. We need to see a little bit more that goes into our neighborhoods, especially when it comes to crime, safety. I've always said I feel like each neighborhood association should have an area where they have lawn care. So if someone can't afford to get their lawn cut, that neighborhood association or something within that area can come and check out a lawnmower and be able to mow the lawn, or somebody in that neighborhood helps them out. I think we can do that a little bit better. But there's a lot of different ideas that I have that I feel that we could do.
Along those lines, Tony Johnson 12 asked a question: how are North Omaha neighborhoods responding to recent crimes? So when I'm thinking a lot about what you're talking about programs, I love the idea of the lawn program and different programs like that they can handle. What happens when there's like crime in the neighborhood? Somebody in the neighborhood's kids is involved. How does neighborhood association respond to that?
Well, I don't think we respond like we used to, and I say this only because I feel like times have changed. And so when people get involved, it's not like it used to be where neighbors could say things to people's kids. People now are scared to speak up to things because they're scared of somebody retaliating or doing something to them. I will say I was shocked. I was in a meeting last week, and I was shocked, and not saying shocked I was shocked, like I didn't know this, but there was literally two murders in the state. That's all we've had in the city of Omaha this year. Two murders.
This is the reason why they're giving all these flowers for.
But I didn't know this. But not saying I was shocked, because I'm saying we should have more. But it was more like, wow, why aren't we talking about this? Why aren't we talking about the positive things that are happening in the community? But then we still have high crime rates when it comes to car theft. We still have robberies. We still have those things. But I think we need to really. I honestly say it's hard. It's hard because people are nervous of getting involved, and I think it's only because the climate that we're in, and people don't want to be harmed, and so yeah, I don't know why. I don't know, but I do feel that we are seeing a change when it comes to certain crimes, but we still have to talk about the other ones.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's the first time I've heard any stats on these crimes. You're saying, why don't we talk about that? They've been talking about it nationally. Empowerment Network and those guys have been on TV. Obama is talking about it. Everybody's talking about the fact that we've cut down the murders and gun violence in the city. But yes, on this show, we are not just leaving it at these stats. We're talking about everything that is going on here in the city as well. So, and I in learning from you and learning from Kimra, it starts with the neighborhoods. It starts with us putting some work in those neighborhoods and really getting to know. When I think of a neighborhood association, I think that's the opportunity to know everybody around you if everybody participated.
Yep.
Yes, and just reading, like last week I did an interview, and they're talking about, they want to bring back the neighborhood watch program, which I think is good. Bringing back the neighborhood watch program and letting the neighborhoods police their neighborhoods and be able to interact more. But then I also need to make sure that they're getting the proper training from the police department. But again, how do I say this? You want to bring back something, but it's like, but I need you to support the neighborhood associations who have stepped in during this time where the neighborhood citizens patrol or the neighborhood watch programs have went kind of to the sidelines. And then we've had to kind of step up and come in and really help. I think they need to do a better job if they're going to bring back these programs, do a better job of bringing in the neighborhood associations and alliances to be able to assist with that. And I know y'all tell me don't watch the comments, but I always see it pop up. But about the National Night Out, Kimra hosts an awesome National Night Out program, and then in North Omaha, it's normally scattered. But this year, would love to host a bigger one in a park in a city park, kind of mirrored off of what Kimra does, where everybody just comes to one location. So we will be looking at that, doing a North Omaha National Night Out on National Night Out, to bringing everybody just to one location rather than it being scattered throughout North Omaha. But we do have to start to learn to know our neighbors. A lot of things did, and I always take full responsibility, especially for Nona, because that's the organization that I represent. A lot of things after COVID did kind of go down because of COVID, and we have a lot of older members, and so now my goal is to make sure it's awesome to have a national platform, but it's also good to be able to take this work and continue it in our community. Sometimes it's hard for me because sometimes people don't know the difference of, it's not politics for me. This is actually my passion. This is where I got my start out before politics, was in neighborhoods. And I really love neighborhoods. I'm from North Omaha. I grew up in North Omaha. That is me. That's who I am. And I want to make sure that North Omaha is always represented as many times, y'all. I don't talk about the meetings that I attend. I don't, but trust me, when I'm in those meetings, I am very much so vocal about what's going on in North Omaha. And I ask the questions. Sometimes I ask the uncomfortable questions, because that's just what I'm going to do. I can't make everybody comfortable, and I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon just because people say this is the thing to do. No, I want to know, what is the data? Why are we seeing this? What are you getting out of this? These are the questions that I have, because I know neighborhoods ain't getting it.
Right. Okay. No, we appreciate it. We appreciate it. Go ahead, Paul.
I was just going to jump in the chat real quick, but go ahead, finish what you were saying, buddy.
Oh, just saying, we appreciate it. It just feels good to know that there's people, you have representation. Like, it's just not to go in a whole soapbox moment, but we know when we have representation, and then we know when there's tokens and impositions that's just kind of doing the job to get along. And you got to ask the hard questions, and you got to ask the questions, because otherwise we're not going to get it. And if you go along, then we're going to get played.
Jumping in the chat, Kimmer Snipe says, we used to have a neighborhood center that supported neighborhood associations. She also said, that's where One Omaha came in. We need more support. KC does interesting work too, with neighborhood associations.
Kansas City has a good one.
Kansas City.
Oh yeah, the Ivanhoe Neighborhood Council. We toured them many years ago. We had a good partnership with them, but they're doing some great things in Kansas City.
Okay.
What kind of great things?
The Ivanhoe Council actually created their own neighborhood. So kind of like how Holy Name has housing, they purchased land and built their own homes in their own underneath the Ivanhoe Council, and people were able to buy homes. They also where they're located at, they bought up the block. Like literally, like moved all the drug dealers out, bought up all the housing with the support of their city council and their aldermen, and they were able to then sell those homes to people who lived in the community, and people revitalized the area. Empty lots, empty lots, empty lots. They made these lots that couldn't be built on. They made them community spaces. So in one, it's like a bunch of like tree trunks, like just like where you could sit for stools, and they would have movie nights. Like So
it's funny you said Holy Name, because where's Holy Name getting their property from?
Yeah, we need to talk about the land bank here.
Hello.
But before we get to that, I want to stick with this, because this, when I was letting my little imagination go about what neighborhood associations can do, this is how far I was going, buying land, selling houses to the people that are in the neighborhoods already, so they really are not pushed out of the neighborhood. So this, I want to keep going in the chat real quick, but I also got a real question when it comes to this stuff that you're talking about here. We need to now talk about. We need to start following the money on that. So how does neighborhood associations get money? I feel like you were mentioning that it would come from the city some kind of way, but also is there fundraising efforts? How do they get money? How does that one out in Kansas raise enough funds to buy land? You know what I'm saying? Like, where do neighborhood associations get their money from?
They get it from the city. They raise money. They do all kinds of stuff. They just buy. I don't speak because I don't know exactly, but I mean, I know that they've been able to use community block grant dollars. Like, they've been able to get all kinds of stuff, like grants and stuff from the government. Like their council was very much so active, and people invested in the neighborhood. People that live there invested, and they bought their land, or they got it for dirt cheap. The land was owned by the city or whoever owned it. They got it for dirt cheap.
So in the North Omaha Neighborhood Association that you're associated with, what efforts are there to raise funds for your association?
I mean, we normally have to do grants. We have to apply for grants, and let me tell you, it got to the point I stopped applying for grants because it's so many people applying for these dollars, and they're going to different programs that I don't know. I mean, you have to apply for grants and city dollars. It's a lot. I mean, I'm keeping it cute right now.
Mhm.
Keeping it cute.
Right, right.
I do feel that at one time there was at one time, uh, um, a proposal to give to fund the alliances a certain amount of money through the city,
Mhm.
and the mayor saying, and they took it and they created, and that's why we now have one Omaha, and we now have Miss Kimber Snipes heading it.
Oh, well, at least we got Kimber Snipes heading it up.
That part.
But I don't know if the city gives them. I don't know how that funding source goes anymore. I can't speak on that, but I do any longer. But I do know that I am really happy that Kimra is in the space that she's in because she does represent neighborhoods and she represents the work. And I know that we will see. I do see good stuff coming. I do. So I'm really
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
excited.
This kind
I
of
mean,
brings me back around to the city budget. I mean, we're talking about, again, the Omaha police and fire departments take up a large amount of that city budget. I kind of want to lay my eyes back on that thing to see not only, that portion, exactly how much percentage they're taking up, but where's the other things going. Because I know you're trying to keep it cute, but I'm kind of reading between the lines. As you said, the city only invests pennies, so there's not really much city dollars to go for. Like you say, you can apply for grants, but we all know the whole nonprofit industry here in Omaha and all the organizations fighting for $20,000 crumb checks when it really takes hundreds of thousands to even get through the year. So I can understand, how that can be disheartening. And then where else do you get funds? What where are the businesses investing in the community? Does the community have enough to invest in itself? Like where else does it come from if it's not from the city, or where does it come from?
That's the thing. We've been so focused on the city funding that I don't think we've ever tapped into, and that's just me personally. When it comes, I've never tapped into anything other than what the city or what philanthropy gives in the city. I've never went outside the city.
But if the city isn't investing in its neighborhoods, then what is it doing?
I mean, they do the neighborhood grants.
well, you can get them.
Right.
Let's come back to this.
I mean,
Let's.
let me say this because it's not just them. Also, the Omaha Community Foundation. They have a neighborhoods grant process that opens up during, like the equity fund. So they have a fund like the equity fund, the African American Unity Fund. They have a neighborhoods fund, and that gives pretty good dollars. Also, you can get good dollars from that. You have the turn back tax. That sometimes that we've been the neighborhoods Nona used to receive that. We still apply for that. Um, it's really it's really not it's really limited, but again, I think we're in a space now where we are going to see some changes, y'all. I should say,
Hopefully.
I know we're in a space now where we're going to see some changes. And I want to answer Cameron's because she asked me about, do we have national funders? We since we are a nonprofit, a lot of our funds come from just sponsorships, but national funders have not stepped up to fund neighborhoods. But again, that is something that is changing with this new board because of those exact things. This board has been not saying the same, but it's kind of had the same foundation for many years, and kind of went the guided the same way. And now that we have a more diverse board, I mean, my board members are from Little Rock, Memphis, Birmingham, Texas, the Bahamas, South Carolina, Indianapolis. I have a variety of board members, and there's a few of us on there who are not city employees, and many of them are. Some of them are government employees. Only a few of us are not city employees or not employed by the government within our city, and so we can tap into now go into some other spaces because we're not conflicted with the cities that we represent. So
Okay.
just know we're looking at that now.
Right on. I'm the you have to go back and kind of check out what the chat is talking about. It's kind of out of control now, but I do want to bring up. It is 8:04 right now. If you believe in the concept of time, in the second hour of First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning,
In the morning.
and we are neighborhooding with P this morning.
Hey.
Really, instead of politicking with P, we got Precious McKesson history making P on, and she is multitasking and still dropping gems and knowledge. So we appreciate you coming on and bringing all these things to our attention. I do want to shift because we are just being conscious of the time here, but we need to go ahead and shift into this conversation about the land bank and what's been in the news here. The things that Dewan Lamont Hayes brought up about what's going on at the land bank, and we're going to continue to kind of look into that. You still with us over there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What, buddy? Do you want to set up what's being talked about
Well,
here?
I mean, I don't even really think it needs much setup. The people in the chat, they're definitely responding, and I'm agreeing. I mean, we're kind of seeing as what Precious just laid out was happening in Kansas City and the large investment. Of course, we've seen the BAA invest in some land, but we just mentioned again, as you mentioned, Dewan put on Facebook. Also, Precious reposted exactly the sale and what's going on with the Omaha Land Bank, and again, close to 500 properties owned by the Omaha Land Bank, a vast majority, if not all of which exist in East Omaha. And we're hearing what's going on with KC, and we're all wondering the same thing. Why is that not happening in Omaha? That woman saying the land bank could make that happen here. Tony Johnson saying land bank and housing people want to make most money they can, not interested in saving residents money. Again, allowing residents to buy property and land dirt cheap, or at least at some reduced cost. So yeah, again, what is going on with the land bank? 500 properties that we know of. We know that there's also hundreds of properties that are not listed on their website. Um, yeah, again, I think we did see for the longest there was not a voting member that represented North Omaha, but I think now there is. Mrs. Rogers is in that position. But yeah, Precious, again, jump in, please.
So I just want to say we did the voting member issue with North Omaha was back when I was on the
Mm-hmm.
board. It's been rectified since 2019 going into
Okay.
2020. So there's been a voting member on there. She then moved, and once the voting member moved, they then had to put another voting member on there. So they didn't wait like last time. That I'll give them
Okay.
that. Um I have not had a meeting yet with the land bank executive director. I have been asked to have this meeting. They've reached out and asked me to do, but I haven't had the time. So I want to give her an opportunity in her new space to be able to tell me to be able to have for me to have a conversation with her to find out what her plan is before I speak on her leadership, because I don't know her yet. I don't know the new executive
Okay.
director yet, and I have not met her to find out what her strategy is. But I will speak on from the past. I feel that the land bank has been inefficient. I feel like the land bank sits on these properties and they don't give first rights of refusal to the community. You let people come in who don't live in the community. And Buddy, how long have we been following this land bank since you interviewed me before? I even on the board when you interviewed me, Buddy, when you did
No,
that
we were trying to
story?
ask you why you didn't have a vote, and we were trying to figure out what was
Yeah.
going on. This had to be like 2017, 18.
Your mind is old days.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. That's how long I still feel the
Mm-hmm.
same way. I feel that I watched from sitting on the board as a non-voting member, um, when people would come in from Elkhorn and buy up the property and then literally tell us to our face. If when I ask the question, what are you doing with the property? We'll come in at one time and say, this is going to be for mixed income. We're going to have mixed income in this area, on these apartments that we're building, and then come back 60 days later to buy more property so they can buy up the entire block, and then tell me, oh, we're working with a nonprofit. And then I'm hearing that's going to be market value when there you have an apartment complex across the street that literally doesn't have enough trash cans to keep the overflow of trash. So there's trash all over the floor, all over the ground. And then they tell me they can't tell me what nonprofit you're working with. And I literally said to the board, you mean to tell me that someone can come in here and tell us that they can't tell us who they working with and they want our property, this property that we have? And this is in North Omaha. They don't even live in North Omaha. So again, I will say there's some things that need to happen. I've heard that things have changed. I still feel that we need to have the community needs to have first rights of refusal to that land, and people to buy that land should come. And I know that there's stipulations. You have to build, so you have to do something on that land in a certain amount of time. I understand that, but why do we make it harder for them to then say, well, if they don't do it in that time, come back and say, well, we got to take that property back? It's a lot to it, but I definitely want to speak more to her. I'm actually meeting with some people from the land bank. There's people from other city land banks that will be down here, and I have some meetings scheduled with them because I kind of want to see what they're doing. The other land bank that I toured about 2 years ago was in Little Rock, and they I mean these land I've seen some successful land banks throughout the nation. I have, and I would love to know what they do and how they do it. But I just feel like, again, in the city of Omaha, you have it to where it's just so much gatekeeping, and I don't know why they don't want to see people build generational wealth in their own communities that they live in.
Let me jump in here.
Go ahead.
It's also a little. It's also more than that too, because they're not just gatekeeping, but they're also making moves. One of the when we interviewed you around that time, we interviewed somebody from the development company that kind of flipped up and told us some stuff. Dewan in his post said, in the very near future, the city of Omaha, through the city of Omaha Planning Department, is planning on selling over 200 plus properties to the Omaha Municipal Land Bank, and that land bank is talking about teaming up with these development companies to develop properties that are mostly market rate. They're going to be mostly market rate. So just to remind everyone, the purpose of that land bank was to hold these properties so that the people in the neighborhoods could acquire these properties and build the neighborhoods out. And it's the exact opposite situation of a development company acquiring properties in order to sell and to build market rate apartments and houses and things like that. So so now it's on our radar because we got to look out for these things that are looking like they're going to happen. So even though we're talking about what the new leader is going to do and so on and so forth, we got to kind of acknowledge if they have a plan here to sell to development companies and to do that, and now the city's talking about releasing a bunch of them to the land bank. The land bank's going to buy them up in order to do that. That's very problematic because really they're scooping up all of the available lots and land that's in our neighborhoods, and they've kind of spent some time doing that. So to me, my question to you is how do you think we can stop the sale of these properties that they're acquiring to these development companies?
I mean, technically we can't because they have bylaws and they can do what they want to do with it. I think it's mainly us talking and giving our concerns and asking how can we do it ourselves. I mean, I would love to see, like, there was one time there was a group of us who had talked about like just putting a bunch of money in a pot and just saying, you know what, we're going to start our own investment group and we're going to go in and buy up these properties and then see what happens. And it never came to be. And I mean, I think that to me, that's one of the ways to do it is starting an investment group and doing that. But I think again, it comes back to who is in the investment group. Right. How it has to be, like, you gotta have some good strong legal contracts, to make sure that everything's on the up and up. But I just really think that that has to happen. Also, going to the board meetings, showing up. This is my problem. Go look at their website on who's on their board.
Yeah, I got you.
We did that already.
1 second.
Also, is this something that the neighborhood associations can do too? Wanda Lewis in the chat a little earlier asked, are the neighborhood association groups exempt from 501c3? Should be some
Nope.
neighborhood tax incentives to help with the neighborhood programs. Because can they be investment opportunities that way? Like you said, I kind of was helping start an investment club in California. Same kind of thing we're talking about here to, find that pool of people that we can pull together and pull our resources together and do that. Can the neighborhood association act as an investment club?
I don't think the neighborhood associations can do that. I mean, yes, they can do 501c3s, but I don't think they can. But I will say, can you go back up?
Mhm.
Um, well, go back down. Oh, well, I mean, honestly, okay. Well, I mean, the board has
Mm-hmm.
changed. Only person that's still on there is Mike Reedman, and he's the board chair. He's been on there for
Mm.
years. But look what he do. That's the one I
Mm-hmm.
didn't like.
MP
That's what I'm
Dodge.
saying. Yeah.
But going back, yes, yeah. So I mean, the board has changed. I'm not okay. I mean, Chris is on there still. Me and Chris were on the board
Hmm.
together. Tiffany came on the board after Tiffany was came on after me.
Voting member of District 3.
Yep, but she used to be in District 2, but she moved to
Mm.
District 3. So that's why Charlon is on
And
there
she's a
now.
voting member of District
And
2.
then
Yeah.
remember, yeah. And then go back down one more. Let me see. And I don't know who Mary is. And then Juanita came on
Councilwoman.
because um Councilwoman Johnson came on because she former Councilman Ben Gray was a mild voting member. He was
Mm-hmm.
also on there
Yeah, the
also.
bylaws
And
requires
I
a
don't, I
council
don't know.
person.
Yeah, I don't know who Patrick is, but yeah, only person on there. Oh, and then Dave fans love me because he's the planning. Me and him, we sat next to each other all the time. He was very much so a good person to work with. I mean, always gave me ideas. Like always, he sat next to me at every
Yeah,
meeting.
we interviewed him
Um,
once. He does give a lot of
yeah,
information out for sure.
yeah.
Mm.
There were a lot of information. Yeah, the only one on there that I feel that shouldn't be on there no more is that Mike
Mm.
Reedman.
Yeah, MP Dodge. I mean, that's definitely,
He's been on there for
and I mean that's
years.
kind of conflict of interest. You got one of the largest real estate developer, owning or at least influencing such a board or such an entity is very interesting. Not really seeing a lot of community members. There's a lot of banks, developers, not really many community. And that was the issue from again when we did our research. About 80% of those properties are going to either Holy Name Housing Corporation or
HUD.
Habitat for Humanity. Like those are the only two organizations that we saw on their documents. So again, from my perspective, it's looking like basically a shell corporation that's passing along those properties from the city of Omaha to those nonprofits. And again, we're trying to find a way to get them in the hands of the people, citizens, families, because on the website it actually says their goal is it says, "Welcome to the Omaha Municipal Land Bank, where our mission is to empower others in transforming distressed properties into community assets." And if neighborhood associations and community members aren't doing that, then they're not really meeting their mission.
There you go. Well, we appreciate all your words there. I can't wait for you to meet that leader there that you're talking about. You're going to meet up here pretty soon. Kimber says she met her at the Elks one night. Yeah, I'd like to. We definitely need to keep up with this and try to find out what's going on and hear more about it. We know that the mayor is a decision maker here when it comes to that stuff. And that's a problem.
Well, I mean, she approved me back in the day to be on the board. I was surprised, but
She was a
she don't deal with me now.
non-voting member, so she probably thought you couldn't do too much damage.
No, 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 no. It was hard. I mean, that was the time she blocked me. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe she had to deal with me, and
Hmm.
I don't know.
Hmm. Yeah. As far as Kimmer getting on the board, she says, "I tried to get on the board for the land bank for a few years, and it never ever happened. I also tried to get on the
I had
board for Metro Transit, and that also never happened."
Mm.
when her district, when the person who was representing the South Omaha district came off, I literally I remember bringing it up because the person who had to bring her up was the council
Mm.
person. And I remember like the same way I had done it, did the application. And I was like, Kimber should be on this board. You should have neighborhood people on the board. And Kimber would have been a voting member.
See, we need that.
Yes, I remember that because and then I was like, why is it happening like this? And but again, everybody has their agenda. But I mean, I know Tony had asked the question back in there. He said, "Why does it?" And I just want to say what he said. He said because it was very interesting. I'm glad he said it. He said, "What did he say?" I'm sorry. He said, "Oh, he said, what makes this change different? I'm old and I've heard this for decades." And I think the reason why I feel, Mr. Tony, why it's different because you have people who are very much so passionate about this and who are not driven by by a dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't, and many of us cannot be bought in this community. I shouldn't say many of us, there's some of us that can't be bought by this community. And we do see the good. And the thing is that we know that North Omaha, and I say I know, I'm just gonna say this at my part. I know that North Omaha is a gold mine. North Omaha is a gold mine, and we've seen it. They started to build up. We got the Lumitarian. I think I'm saying it
Illuminarian.
right. We have Lumitarian.
It's all right. It's all right.
You got to be a Lumitarian to join the
Yeah,
Lumitarian.
yeah.
Nice. I'm sorry. We have the downtown
Mhm.
riverfront is being so much done. I mean, you have the Mutual Omaha building. People want to now have access to be able to not have to drive 15 and 20 minutes from West Omaha. And so they know that North Omaha is a gold mine, but we have to stand strong and keep our community because I tell people all the time, what you thought was trash, now you know is a
Mhm.
treasure, and now you know a piece of it. Because I'll never forget, maybe, and I'll say this before I jump off because I have to go get dressed. But I remember maybe like 4 or 5 years ago when we started to see an influx of different community members, different diverse in the neighborhood. And I'll never forget getting a phone call, and it was from a black leader, a neighborhood person, and she said, "Miss Precious," and I was like, "What's up?" She said, "I just saw a white woman running by Coons Park," and I said, "Oh, is she okay?" I was really trying to figure. I said, "Was
Who was
she
she
okay?"
running from?
She just
She
jogging.
hold up. She was running with a stroller and a dog.
Ponytail flopping in the
She
wind.
she she lived in the neighborhood. She said, "Miss Precious, I've never seen this."
Yeah, I remember that.
She was one of our elders. And I said, "Babe," I said, "I'm sorry." I said, "But I said, it just shows you that our neighborhoods are really starting that our neighbor, we started to see it. People were buying buying a property in our neighborhoods. And it's okay to buy property. It's okay. We're not saying you can't buy the property there, but they were revitalizing it. And I said, what people always said, North Omaha is this, but people want to be back down there. They want to be able to get to those amenities faster. They want to be able to use the bike lane. They want to
Mhm.
do all that stuff.
True.
So again, we're a gold mine. And so, Mr. Tony, we are going to try to make that change and really keep our voices heard. And just don't give up on us.
That
Don't give
part.
up on us. I know you said this for decades.
That part.
And continue to hold us accountable and pull our coattail. If y'all feel that we going the wrong route, say something to us. Be like, "Hey, that's not what you said you was gonna do." We got to start holding each other accountable and really saying, and not taking offense
Mhm.
to it. That's something that I'm really working on because I feel like it's not personal toward me when things are being made. It's more to the
Mhm.
process. And so just really being open to that. But just make sure that we got to be that voice. And yeah, we got a lot. And District 4 was vacant for a long time. District 4 was actually vacant longer than District
And
2.
what area is District 4? What does that represent?
District 4, South
Okay.
Omaha,
Yeah.
South
Okay.
Omaha area.
There you go.
Yeah, and I
We
appreciate y'all. And oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just saying we are. I at least am very encouraged by what's happening with the neighborhood association stuff that you're talking about, and being out there for this convention, and hearing about all these ideas about what these neighborhoods can do. I mean, that's a super positive thought to me. So yeah, really appreciate that. Appreciate you and Kimmer being out there representing and handling. I can't wait to hear I can't wait to read some Kimmer notes and hear hear these good ideas of what's going on, man, and let my mind go and implement some of these things in some of these neighborhoods, and get back to figuring out the money situation on there. Now that we have a little bit of a glimpse on how these things get funded, maybe we can put a little bit more effort into those things instead of some of these nonprofits that keep getting dollars that aren't really making any difference every year,
Mm.
and so on and so forth. So, because I can really see the neighborhood associations making some
Yeah.
serious difference.
Word.
Definitely.
Word.
Can I say something? Mr. Stewart Knight just said something that's very interesting. He said they always knew the land was a treasure. In their minds, people were trash. Don't fool yourself. Oh, definitely.
Mm.
I definitely know. I definitely remember that. And I remember there was a gentleman that came in. Oh my God, it's Louis Farrakhan's actually nephew,
Mm.
and he has
Yeah, I remember this.
Banner. Remember I told the story, but he has
Mhm.
Banner Enterprises. And I remember coming to a meeting. This was like maybe I think Bruce Hunter was running for city council at the time because I was working for Bruce Hunter. And I remember these people came from DC area and they went to an empowerment meeting. And they came and I was in the meeting already. I didn't know they was coming. And usually all these black people just come in with these suits on. It was black men, black women. They just
Big suits.
walked in, and everybody was like, "Who's these people?" And they just kind of scattered. They scattered and sat around. They didn't sit together. And so I remember us meeting at the Hilton, and he had said, "Precious," he was like, "What you want to open a business?" And I said, "I wanted to open a I'll never forget sitting by this window. I said I wanted to open a dry cleaners because there wasn't a dry cleaners in the community." And he said, "No, you don't want to do that." He said, "What you need," he said, "y'all need to have a black female construction company." He said, "That's where you make your money at." Then he turned around and told me, he said, no, he was so mad. He said, North Omaha is nothing but a gold mine. He said, all y'all running around trying to figure out where the gold is, just tearing up stuff, trying to find the gold.
Y'all the gold.
He said,
Y'all
and
the
y'all,
gold.
that's what he said. He said, and y'all the ones, and y'all don't realize y'all the gold. Y'all walking around here, but y'all tearing up the properties and tearing up trying to find this gold, and y'all the ones. He was like, y'all got to change y'all mindset. But I had a question for him because I said, and I challenged him. I said, but what happened when you changed the mindset when you did Georgetown? I said, you gentrified Georgetown. You were a part of that gentrification. Because because if anybody has been from DC, ever been to DC, Georgetown used to be by Georgetown University used to be such a drug infested, couches in the street. It was horrible.
Mm.
But now you go there, it's one of the top areas in the city of DC.
But the question is, who gentrified it though? Because gentrification in itself ain't bad. But if we're the ones gentrifying our own areas,
But the thing is, we got a lot of people in that area sold their properties, and then other people moved in because they were saying, "Oh, we're going to redo this property. We're going to," and so instead of them holding on to it while they were doing this,
they sold
it. So I say that to say, like, I do now see what Mr. Stewart Knight said. It's our areas is treasure. And Mr. Tony Johnson is exactly right. You have the Jesuits are good at gentrifying because, again, it kind of reminds you of what Creighton is doing, is what they did in Georgetown. And that's it.
Hey, drop the mic.
Okay, well, one last thing. Tony Johnson, who else?
Keep my baby scholarship. Don't play with her scholarship now, Creighton.
Hey,
she getting through it so fast. She'll be out before we making changes, right?
Right.
Tony Johnson, who else is currently on property in North Omaha? How do you communicate with homeowner and neighborhood event meetings?
So that's something that we have to do better job at. The city, if it's a neighborhood event, we need to update our database because we don't have access to emails, and then it costs money to be able to mail things. But I mean, definitely, I mean, if you have some ideas on what we can do, we got to figure out a way to be able to talk to the homeowners, but not just only the homeowners. We need to talk to the people, the renters, because the renters need to be included in these neighborhood events because this is the places they choose to raise their families. So we got to have a buy-in with the renters also, because we want them to be able to create a safe, clean neighborhood also, so that the homeowners' values can continue to rise on their homes.
Yeah.
Well, we can First Sky Omaha website. We'll be happy to house any information on meetings.
Yes.
We can put a little calendar together for that, and we'll help you work on that for sure. But appreciate you very much. I know you got to get going.
Yes, they buzzing me. They're like, "Where are you at?" I'm like, "It's only 7:30."
Look, calm down. We appreciate you coming on, man, and taking the time, especially when you're out of town like that. Really appreciate you taking the time, getting up early for us. So
I appreciate y'all.
safe travels. Break out your green book. You in Texas, figure it out. Don't get yourself caught up out there nowhere, but be safe.
Bye, y'all.
Peace.
See you later. All right, that's what I'm talking about. Precious McKesson in the house. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back and jump into some more subjects. Again, thanks for joining us and putting all your comments into the chat. I'm sorry that I didn't get a chance to read off all the comments, but definitely go back and check out the comments in the chat. You guys had some good points, some good research, and some good, just some good information in general. So really appreciate that. We'll take a quick break, come back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning.
In the morning.
Paul B. Buddi3 Da Gawd,
Hey.
chat timers, ghost listeners, radio listeners. Stay tuned. We'll be right back, y'all. Welcome back. You're listening to First Sky Omaha Radio, First Sky Omaha in the morning. Paul B the Dub, Buddi3 Da Gawd. It's going down with all y'all. Appreciate you joining into the conversation. If you've missed any parts of the show or the interview with Precious McKesson, then please go back to Facebook and YouTube and check it out in its entirety, the whole show, and jump into the chat when you do and listen to see what the people are saying in the chat. Because, man, chat chimers were chiming up this morning. Appreciate that very much. Ron's Reviews, Mira Sanchez says we got 210 subscribers over there on YouTube, so appreciate that very much. Please like and subscribe and hit the bell and all that good stuff that you do on YouTube. Make sure that you are able to check out the shows and participate in the shows, and really appreciate all the participation. We got a lot of people coming in this morning. Look like a lot of ghost listeners we had on today, so hopefully you glean some information there. If you ever feel the need to jump in, we would love to have you come jump in and join in on the chat as well. And tell a friend, spread the show, share the show on your page, do all those things so that we can get as many people in talking as we can. Even though we're here with the last half hour of the show already, kind of zip this morning. Even though we didn't have Kimmer Snipes on, she was on because she was in the chat sitting at the airport joining in. So appreciate that. You got to hear from her anyway. So yeah. So that's what's up. A lot of good information, and again, I hope that everybody is continuing to be respectful and learn from each other and have conversations as if we're face to face, holding each other accountable, but with respect. And I really appreciate that and feel like this is a real safe space to do that. I never feel stressed in when we're having these conversations, because we're having the conversations that get to lead to some changing of minds and some change. Period.
Yeah.
So, my opinion is the only way it works is if we do it the way we're doing it. So we appreciate everybody who's joined in on that and bought into it with us and all that good stuff.
Thank you,
buddy. How you feeling over there, man?
I'm feeling good. Definitely a great conversation with Precious. Definitely appreciate her, as you said, taking the time out of her busy schedule to drop some gems on us, man. And very interesting conversation. And I think we're all seeing what it is, and actually getting some ideas about what we can do. That's kind of the big thing that as you said, part of this effort and this endeavor, what we're doing with this platform. Not only talking about the issues, not only addressing what's going on and trying to figure out what's going on, but also figure out what we can do about it. Not just leaving everybody with a sense of doom and gloom and hopelessness. We want to kind of present some solutions, present some marching orders, present some ideas on how we can, really change things, because we can. And as mentioned, by Brother Stewart, by Sister Precious, like, we are the gold. And it's very interesting. It kind of reminded me of some things that I'm, mentally doing in my personal life. I feel like, I've kind of reached success as far as I'm doing this. I'm in Atlanta. I moved my family. I've achieved a lot of goals that I set for myself over the last couple of years. And I'm getting my mental, like, okay, it's perspective. How do you look at things? And there's always opportunity out there. And we should apply that to our own neighborhoods. Like, it's easy to look at some of the lots and look at some of the destitute that's out there, and like, man, there's no hope. But there's opportunity at every corner. It just depends on how you look at it. So Let's get active, y'all. It's out there.
Yeah, I like that attitude a lot. I'm thinking a lot about these neighborhoods around here. You know, we talk an awful lot about how the black community is kind of spread out, more out of North Omaha now, and there's still a lot of black families, a lot of black ownership in North Omaha, but there's a lot of spread out too. But man, it could be an effort to bring some folks back
Man,
if we are looking at the neighborhoods in terms of neighborhoods that we can build together, as opposed to just individually grabbing, getting this property, that property, or what you do. Even, like you said, even renters that are there raising their families in these communities and so on. So that's really what's up, man. I really like that. I really like that idea a lot. Excuse me. Of expanding my thought process about what a neighborhood association can accomplish
mm-hmm.
and do. You can have, me in policing. I'd much rather us be policing our own neighborhoods. I think Wanda Lewis earlier in the chat said back in the day there used to be neighborhood watches, neighborhood patrols, all kinds of stuff going on back in the day that kept some of this stuff together. And we need to keep all that kind of stuff, still going. Is help with. There's so many factors we could do. Help with ownership. There's lots like she was saying that can't be built on. Maybe could be community gardens. We have a lot of that kind of stuff going on already, but we can use a lot more. I'm even thinking about the land that the BAA purchased. They purchased 8 acres of
Mm-hmm.
land recently. When I started looking for houses that I wanted to buy, I was looking around the BAA land because why not be neighbors
Right.
to them? And then why not build out a neighborhood association then if they're on that land? You know what I'm
Hello.
saying? And you're living around that land. So there's a lot of stuff that we might be able to do for sure. Tony Johnson 12 says I need to get out of meetings and into the streets. He says, remember the days when Black Panthers and Nation of Islam walked the streets?
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Need to bring that back.
Mama God says, wow, First Guy, it seems like we just yesterday we were trying to get to 100 YouTube followers. Celebrate good times. Keep coming.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate the support. And I hope you're feeling okay too. Everything that you got going on right now as well. So
Yeah, I'll be calling you later, my dukes.
yeah, got a text while we were talking to Precious from Senator Justin Wayne. Put some respect on his name. He said LB50 is up today around 11 or 1. So we've been putting the legislative session on Friends of First Sky Omaha to check out, to watch. I'll put that link there and watch it as well. And of course, if you are in the area, you can always go up and support. You can always go up and give your testimony, and you can always write a note, even if it's after the fact. You can always write a note and get it on the record. And so go to the legislative page, go to LB50, and write your testimony there as well. But let's talk a little bit about LB50 and what it is and what's going on. A little update. Shout out to Marianne Williams for updating us on these things. Let's see, buddy. You got it.
Yeah, I got it. Let's go ahead and dive into it again. Just the waning hours of Nebraska's state legislative sessions, and again looking at, as we all been talking about, criminal justice reform, mental health, and the relation between those two. And that's exactly what LB50 deals with. As Paul mentioned, big shout out to Marianne Williams for keeping us on top of this. But she says, despite outside interference, there's an update. LB50 has advanced to the next round. LB50 expands problem-solving courts in the state of Nebraska, also creates a pilot program to create virtual behavioral health services for court-involved individuals, allows for a notification to offenders who may be eligible for set-aside convictions, creates a pilot program to hire assistant probation officers, also a pilot program to establish a probationer incentive program, prioritizes payments for restitution, allows for streamlined parole contracts, and creates a pilot program to establish a technical parole violation residential housing program. Kind of some of the services that Senator Wayne has been talking about, as far as, again, not allowing inmates to jam out, but giving them some kind of a launch pad, if you will, to get back into society. As I just mentioned, some housing programs, some probation things, incentives for those who are on probation to kind of walk the straight path rather than falling back into some old habits, old relationships, things like that. So again, definitely big shout out to the senators for not resting on some of the victories that they have already had. Again, LB 1024, which is the big one that we were looking at. That's looking like it is going in the right direction, looking like a success. And the senators could easily say, hey, we were successful. We got the money for North Omaha. Let's just fall back. But they're still working, even in the waning hours, pushing for criminal justice reform. So big shout out to them. So yeah.
Tony Justin 12 is adding in the chat, LB50 needs specific diversity component and funding. North Omaha lacks resources to implement.
Okay.
So getting this thing going is the first step, and then we got to find resources in order to hold it up if it passes, if it goes forward. So man, everything in steps, and like I said, those of us that aren't in there fighting for this bill need to maybe be out here fighting for the resources for it, so we can get it to the next level. So. Everything has its place, and hopefully we can bring that up. And so just appreciate the senators. I mean, really, when I'm looking at what's going on in the legislature, there's really nobody that's pushing for these things except for Brother Justin Wayne and Brother Senator Terrell McKinney. Put some respect on their names. They're really only in there fighting, and if they have any allies, any people on their side about it, then first of all, it's always a little bit skeptical about whether or not they're going to kick in and help. And then when they do, it's like, okay, well, at least we got some allies. But it's not, these allies aren't these ones that are putting these things forward. It's only those two brothers that are doing that. So that's going on. He says yesterday's commission meeting highlighted my point. Tell us about the commission meeting. What happened at yesterday's commission meeting? Do you go to the 360 meetings? I have a feeling that you said earlier that you attend some of these meetings. I would love to hear some things about it. And we're still working on getting brother Willie Barney over on the show as well. For those of you that's been following Michael Scott's show, Willie Barney's actually going to be on Michael Scott's show coming up. So definitely check that out on YouTube as well. We'll have them on. They're going to ask their questions. We're going to ask our questions.
Right.
We'll see how that works.
Marianne Williams says diversion programs are implemented by the courts. So yeah. I think what Tony Johnson is referring to is actually this latest decision from the board to back this $33 million addition to the Omaha jail, which is kind of my issue with all of this. Like, although LB50 is a step in the right direction as far as giving some kind of launch pad or landing strip, however you want to look at it, for inmates to transition from incarcerated life to civilian life, if you will. But again, the big issue is a lot of these services are you have to go through the system. Like, you have to go to jail first to even get some of that. And that's still the main thing that's going on. Again, $33 million going to a mental health unit, but it's in addition to the Omaha jail. It's not standalone. Again, you have to go through this system in order to get the services that you really need to stay out of the system.
You got to get in trouble first.
Right. And just yesterday, which I believe, again, Brother Tony Johnson is referring to, the Douglas County Board voted to direct county staff to initiate a capital improvement project for building the addition to the Douglas County Jail, which, of course, is located on 710 South 17th Street. Typically, that means seeking architects, contractors to design and build the project, with contracts being put out for bid and then requiring county board approval. However, a preliminary estimate by a consultant puts the cost of the building at about $33 million, plus an unspecified amount for building a parking garage or more surface parking. So that doesn't even include the parking edifice as well. The money could come out of a $50 million in American Rescue Plan Act funds that the county board earmarked for mental health projects, which again is a big issue. Rather than they have $50 million for mental health projects, and rather than, again, assisting the community and offering some services just for the community, they're adding it to the prison. They're adding it to the jail, which is an issue. The addition is meant to address the chronic and growing problem of large numbers of people with mental illness in the Douglas County Jail, often with misdemeanor offenses. The action came a week, of course, after the board rejected a combined proposal to build the jail addition, and a new home for Douglas County Community Health Center, currently housed in the county's nursing home on Woolworth Avenue. So, again, they've been trying to find a way to build this addition for some time, and it seems like they finally figured out how they're going to go about that.
And expanding the jail is the answer.
Yep.
Okay. Marianne Williams is co-signing on what we're talking about. She says, right, but more diversion programs keep you out of jail. You have to get in trouble to get it.
Yeah, that's the issue.
It's ridiculous. She said because you said earlier she said diversion programs, etc., implemented by the courts. Tony Johnson 12 says Levon from Reentry Program had great feedback about lack of resources. I don't know if I have mentioned before. First Sky Omaha is gonna be working with Metropolitan Community College on doing some film for the reentry program there. And yes, Diane Good Collins is another person who's always telling me about the lack of resources those reentry programs have. So the college diverts a lot of funds to that program, but a lot of those funds need to be raised as well. She is always engaged in raising funds all the time. She's engaged with us in order to raise some, in order to for us to put a film together, in order to raise some awareness about the situation, in order to be able to raise more funds. So it's a constant thing for sure as far as those raising those funds are concerned. Miss Erica Fell says that you can only participate in diversion if you can afford it. It's a way to buy your way out of having a record. Yes, you do their program, but you pay for it, and when done, your charges are dismissed.
Yeah.
So there's a class thing going on there with that. You can pay your way out of it.
Yeah, I'm going through the diversion program, and it really is like you have to be appointed. Somebody has to like say, "Hey, I think this is something." Like you have to be. Somebody has to suggest it for you. It's not. It's a lot of hoops that you got to jump through, and even after that, I will say that it's not always off your record. Like there were some universities that I weren't able to get into because of that situation.
Wow, that's great.
Yeah. Although it's supposed to be expunged.
She says, so the poorest who commit crimes due to economics often just go to jail.
There you go.
She says, I've known people who commit crime to pay for diversion. Wow. Let's see. She also says public defenders can get you into a diversion, but in order to graduate, quote unquote, diversion, you have to pay the diversion program. Tony Johnson 12 says commission meeting, interesting hearing. White folks talked about minority needs, and with only a couple of us in the room, that's crazy. So he attends 360 meetings, and there's a 360 meeting today at 2. Might try to start rearranging my work day so that I can try to make some of those. I used to go to those meetings in the very beginning and when I got in town, and just kind of stopped going. Just didn't know where it was going all the time. So we'll see. Marianne Williams is actually giving us some prices about some of those things. $260 for level 1 offenses, $340 for level 2 offenses, $660 for a felony. That's how much you got to pay to go to these diversion programs. Cost of the programs.
And again, the people have to pay for it who most likely are in poverty anyway. That's why, yeah. It's just, it's quite the conundrum.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, man. And again, the whole thing on all of this is as that woman said, in order to even get in the program, a public defender has to think highly enough of you to even suggest that you go into it. You have to not be looked at as a miscreant to begin with. You know what I mean? Like somebody else has to care about you enough to even suggest this and not suggest you just go straight to jail rather than offering these services to people who are committing misdemeanors anyway. Like these are small crimes that they probably wouldn't be committing had they had people investing in them. Like it makes no sense.
Like Miss Erica Fell said, she know people that had to go commit crimes just to go pay for the diversion.
Come on, man. Come on.
Go rob somebody 660 so I can pay for this diversion.
Man, so I can stay out of jail.
And not just stay out of jail, but it's supposed to expunge your record. You said you got personal testimony on how it's not. It doesn't even do that all the way.
Right.
But that's what's crazy too. Is like that's just it's almost like how the phone system works in jail. It's like a money making scheme. It's like a bail system because they're saying here's what you can pay this money so that you can do this and do that. And then they don't even do that. They don't even do what you're paying for, except they'll keep you out of jail, but it won't take it off your record. That's a trip.
Marianne Williams too. She says it's not only the public defender. She says, and you have to have a county attorney that is pro diversion. So if you're in Douglas County, you're at the mercy of Don Klein.
Whew.
You're at the mercy of Don Klein.
We all know about Don Klein.
Man, speaking of Don Klein.
Yeah.
Speaking of Don Klein, let's go ahead and while we're talking about this, go ahead and jump into this story. A big shout out to this journalist, Joe Sexton.
Well, I mean, let's not shout him out yet. Let's read the book first.
Well, yeah, that part. But again, Joe Sexton is a former ProPublica and New York Times reporter who wrote his new book, Lost Sons of Omaha, which is looking at again not only Don Klein but the whole Scurlock situation. Again, the killing of James Scurlock and the subsequent trial of Mr. Gardner. And the actually this book comes on the heels, or really before the third anniversary. That will be May 30th, so that's definitely coming up again on May 30th 2020. 22-year-old Scurlock was among hundreds of protesters who took to the streets of downtown during what we are now calling Freedom Summer. Of course, that night, on that fateful night, May 30th, ended up with the shooting. Local business owner Jake Gardner taking the life of young Scurlock. And this book looks at, again, the situation, the story of it. In the book, The Lost Sons of Omaha, published again this month, Joe Sexton pushes readers to look beyond the grotesque caricatures, quote unquote, of Scurlock and Gardner presented on social media and in competing political narratives. Instead, Sexton explores the killing through the notion of a pure tragedy, a situation in which there are no heroes or villains, only flawed human beings. He says, I questioned at the start of my reporting whether the notion of pure tragedy existed in America anymore. I had our divisions and suspicions and resentments and obscene racial history vanquished that inadequate but meaningful quality of true tragedy. So again, goes in to tell the story of the journalist himself. But of course, it was about 2 months after Scurlock's killing, about 2 months prior to Gardner's suicide, that the Omaha case came up on Sexton's radar. He says that he learned about it from another editor who forwarded him an email from a local attorney who claimed to be a former classmate of Gardner's, in which Wilkins inspired ProPublica to look into Gardner's history. The editor who actually sent the journalist seemed pretty convinced that this is a story that they should follow. He says he believed that Gardner and Scurlock had been reduced to grotesque. Gardner, a bloodthirsty white supremacist; Scurlock, a hoodlum who provoked his own death. So yeah, again, questioning kind of, one of your favorite things, Paul, questioning the premise.
I will say a couple things about that. Number one, there's Bob Woodward is co-signing this reporter. Joe Sexton is one of the truly great reporters working today. Bob Woodward was one half of the team that busted the Nixon back in the day, and is known for expose and just great journalism in general. He's kind of a legend in the journalism scene, and so he's co-signing this, bro. But my first thing is this is it's a white writer that lives in New York that's writing about this. I don't doubt that they've done the research and so on and so forth. But how many people out here they talk to? How many of the black community they talk to? They talk to the family.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know all these questions. Don't have answers to all these questions. But I will say that through our connections here in Nebraska, we have is 1 degree of separation between us and this brother, and we've actually been suggested that we ought to put on an event for this book in order to kind of bring the community in, bring that dude out, and maybe ask some questions and try to find out firsthand if he's talked to the family, if he's talked to the community. First, read the book and find out what premise, where he's coming from with it.
Right.
Journalism, it's supposed to be fair and balanced, and we try to make it as fair and balanced as we can. But it's now a known given fact that anybody who's writing is going to infuse their viewpoint and their feeling behind the thing. That's just how those things work. And so it would be interesting to see what point of view he's coming from with this book, first and foremost. As you know, it can go either way.
Definitely can.
Our community feels like Brother Scurlock is a hero that had jumped into action and stopped an active shooter from harming other people and lost his life because of it. Other people in this city think that he was the villain and that this other cat was the hero of the situation. Be interesting to see what the book has to say about the situation, and it'd be interesting to see what kind of research he did on it. So if you guys think here in the chat, if it's a good idea for us to involve ourselves in possibly bringing this writer out and putting an event together that the community can come to and ask some questions and talk, let me know. And we'll look into doing that.
And to that point, it does lay out some of the people that he did speak to. I definitely, like you said, would urge people to just read the book first. At least some experts like try to get a glimpse of what the tone of the book is before you make that decision on whether or not this is something that you like to see come to the community. But to your point, I actually think the opposite. I feel like that might be a benefit. The fact that this is somebody who's outside the community, coming from New York, a journalist. He might have a little more, outside looking in, objective kind of point of view.
Right.
And does seem like he did his due diligence. He did speak to family and friends, according to this article of Gardner, which is quite interesting. It says many of the friends of Gardner refuse to be named or speak at all out of fear of retaliation, which is very interesting. I'm kind of curious as far as retaliation from who. I'm very curious about that part. But it does also mention that he spoke to Eric Ewing, who apparently runs the Great Plains Black History Museum. He also spoke to Joaquin Fox, who's a friend of the show, of course. Joaquin managed and really ran the 30-day protest outside of Don Klein's gated community. So very interesting to see what Joaquin has to say about this. He also spoke to Don Klein about the situation. And also Fred Franklin. If you remember, Fred Franklin was the special prosecutor who presented the evidence to the grand jury that ultimately resulted in felony charges against Gardner. So would definitely, again, a lot of perspectives that I would like to see from this. Apparently, he did also speak to the Scurlock family. And he says that he actually admits, the journalist, he says they had no good reason to trust me, and each family knew within a matter of weeks that I was talking to the other family. And it would have been understandable for them to have been suspicious or paranoid, but they were none of those things. They each welcomed me into their families and the stories of their sons. And that's a set of relationships that has now lasted 2.5 years and through many difficult moments. So I'm actually very interested to see what comes out of this book. Not to mention as well that, when a lot of us in the community were talking about it, this was a live case. So there's some things that can't be talked about. There's some things that can be released. But now that this is kind of done, there's more information that can possibly come out. So I am very interested in seeing what comes out of this book, and maybe possibly talking to him.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. I definitely think that might be something. Miss Erica Felt says, "My question: does Mr. Scurlock get money from the book? I know he went fishing with this author recently. That's a good question. If the family's getting compensated, I would like to know, and we can find out on Friday whether or not they spoke to Senator Justin Wayne, put some respect on his name, who was the family attorney for the Scurlock family. So we can ask him too about this situation. So there's a lot going on here, so we can see that. So yeah, would love to dig into this book. It's definitely something we're gonna check out. We started First Sky Omaha in 2021, right after that Freedom Summer of 2020, and that was, and all this case and everything that was going on, and Gardner committing suicide and everything that happened while we were actively talking about all this on this show. And we had Brother Scurlock on, Scurlock Senior on. We've talked to, and like I said, we've had Justin Wayne on, who's been the family attorney. We've had a lot to do with this situation, and now apparently we are kind of getting asked to put ourselves in the position of helping some communication or bringing this guy out to have us be able to ask the kind of questions that we ask, us in the chat chambers ask, and kind of just talk about it a little bit, because the book is getting released, and I don't think there was any big community roundtables or town halls or anything about it, and it's a very sensitive subject still, and I'd like to know what the Black community thinks about what was being written here. So I encourage everybody to check it out, read the book. And we'll definitely revisit this, and then we might very well have an event where we bring the author out. We'll see how that works.
Pop's kind of giving his take.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
He says, from what I understand, the book looks at both the men in a sympathetic lens, the murdered and the murderer.
Interesting. Miss Erica Fell says, I have a hard time buying the book if it's exploitative and not beneficial.
Yeah, I guess that's the point of us saying read it first. Let's make sure that's what that is before we step forward. But I agree.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate it very much. We got about 2 minutes left in the show. Not really a whole lot of time for haps. We will continue these conversations later, but I just want to throw out a couple of haps out there real quick before we get to it. This is an important event that we look at every year. Zachary Beer Hill's 6th anniversary prayer walk and vigil. As we know, this case, Brother Zachary Bear Hills was killed by some overactive police. There was a lot of stuff that went down there with this, and they're still remembering him by doing the 6th annual prayer walk and vigil. They do this every year. So 4 to 7 on June the 4th, which is actually my birthday, June the 4th. 2023 from 4 to 7. They're going to start at the Greyhound bus station on Jackson Street, meet us at the bus station at 4 p.m. and walk the same route Zachary took to the Speedy Mart for a vigil to remember him and call out police brutality to indigenous peoples. So appreciate that. This is organized by Justice for Zachary Bear Hills, Great Plains Action Society, Ni Bahaska Stand Collective, and Grassroots Indigenous Folks. They all have teamed together to put this together. So definitely check that out. June the 4th from 4 to 7. Walk the streets and remember Brother Bear Hills. So we'll definitely put that out there. I just want to give another real quick shout out to Houston Alexander.
Man,
is
get
my
down.
The brother is my hero, man. I'll just put it to you like that. This brother's 51, still whooping all kind of tail in MMA.
Man,
Still breakdancing in front of the kids. If I try to get on spin on my head again like I did back in the day, I break my neck. This brother's still straight up b-boying, DJing, and give it back to the kids in a big way, man. Going around to all these little kids, these little white kids in these schools, man, and teaching them about the roots of hip hop.
man,
You know what I'm saying?
the real.
He loves to ask this question: Who's the first woman MC? And everybody goes, Queen Latifah, blah. Nah. MC Shyrock, you gotta know that. You gotta know this. So who's the first DJ? Kool Herc. You gotta know these things, and especially on the 50th year of hip hop, the only one in Omaha that's really representing this way, besides some things that the Culture House is doing, is Houston Alexander. So shout out to him, the brother, and he's a gentleman. On top of that, he's a gentleman and a scholar. This brother is an honorable, cool, humble cat. And is also a champion. So an Omaha gym for real. Shout out to him and everything that he's working on and doing. Don't forget Art Battle. Speaking of the Culture House, Art Battle coming up on May 27th.
Man,
That's also in a couple of days. 6 p.m. These Art Battles are going off. If you know where the Culture House is, I can't wait. They need to do some kind of like book on all the art that came through these things, man. That would be dope.
That would be.
Got to talk to him. Also, the on the same day, 27th, later on that night, man, go check out a night of progressive rock and sophisticated funk. You're talking about world-renowned guitarist Renee Benton, Omaha's own, actually coming back to do a concert. He's bringing some cats, and he's employing some cats that are here. Get your tickets. This is at Benson Theater. Go to bensontheater.org and check him out. We're going to be stretching it to the limit, man, with the sound and the lights over there at the Benson Theater. So come check it out for the spectacle alone if you don't know who Renee Benton is. But I definitely encourage you to check him out, check his music out, and come and see something real professional and different and crazy. Get down. Also, man, check out this over at the Benson Theater, too. Remember the Drumstick. This is a very interesting film. I've actually already seen it. We're going to be premiering it though at the Benson Theater. This is from a black filmmaker, and she's remembering a little town where there was a spot called the Drumstick. It was actually a chicken joint, and everybody came through there to play. They built a little stage, and they kept cooking that chicken while people was playing and passing plates around while the Chili Peppers was on stage and all these huge bands. And it's a really interesting situation. To be out in Nebraska somewhere in a little chicken joint, in a little chicken spot, and seeing all these huge names, people that went on to be superstars in the game. Very interesting documentary. Come check it out, the Benson Theater, and I believe that is on the. I don't have the date on it. Okay, I'll grab the date and put that in Friends of Sky Omaha. I believe it's Thursday. It's Thursday night.
Okay,
so definitely check it out. Go to
tomorrow.
Omaha. Yeah, tomorrow night. Go to Omaha, bensontheater.org and get your tickets for Remember the Drumstick as well. Support black filmmaking, if you will.
Hey.
Anybody got anything else going on here that we need to talk about? Yep, Benson Theater. Anybody got any other events that we need to make sure that we get to before the end of the week? If not, we'll leave it there and we'll come back Friday for an extensive haps.
Well, Miss Erica Feld is reminding us, enroll your preschoolers at the play school house. She's looking for the little ones, especially as the summer is gearing up. You know, schools are letting out. We'll need somewhere for the little ones to go. So definitely reach out. Big shout out to Miss Erica Feld. She says, interesting and valuable show. Thank you, everyone. Drink water, check your health. Remember your goals before acting, and enroll your preschoolers at the play school house. There you go.
That's what's up.
Yeah, man.
Here's the information here. Go to Miss Erica's with an S, playschool.com. Definitely check that out. Schedule a interview so she can, or refer kids too. Even if you don't got any kids to put in the playhouse, refer some people over to her. You know that we try to take care of our own here at First Sky Omaha, the First Sky Omaha fam, and she's building the business back up after going through some struggles, and now she's here and ready to take on the kids. It's springtime. It's a good time to get busy. Really, not just have somebody in the neighborhood watching your kids, but also that's going to teach the kids as well.
That part.
And keep the kids safe. And then it has a community like us to help to back. So that's what's up. Appreciate that.
Yep.
We're gonna go ahead and get out here, buddy. You got some words for the people?
Yeah, of course. Big shout out to Sister Kimber Snipes. Definitely, please travel safe as you make your way down to El Paso. Also, big shout out to Sister Precious McKesson for tapping in with us from El Paso, doing the work, man, doing the work. So big shout out to them as always for speaking with us, informing us, keeping us on top of what's going zones out there in the world. Of course, big shout out to all of you chiming into the chat, letting your mind be free. More importantly, letting your voice be heard. It really means the world to us. This is what we do it for, to engage and really see what's going on in your world, what you care about, what's impacting your lives, so we can make live life together, live alive together, as Paul likes to say, and really come down to some solutions and figure things out, man. So we love you, we appreciate you, we thank you. Catch the same time, same place, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We are about 3 weeks away from the end of this season, so definitely bear with us. Again, looking forward to meeting all of you in person for a kickback. But until then, in the meantime, in between time, Paul B.
Yo.
Take it away.
Man, join us Friday when we bring on brothers Senators Terrell McKinney and Justin Wayne to give us some wrap up, man, because it'll be getting towards the end of the legislative session.
Yeah, man.
Definitely check it out today. LB 50 is up for discussion, so we will put in Friends of First Sky Omaha a link to the Nebraska legislature video so you can watch that. And also you can go ahead and comment if you want to, too. And if you happen to be in the area, go show up, man. Help these brothers get that thing passed. So appreciate everybody that's joined us. I want to give thanks to the Omaha tribe elders for allowing us to be on this land and speak while we're here. Thanks to our elders for allowing us to speak before them. And thanks to you, the chat chimers, allowing us to speak with you. It's all about communication. Communication rules the nation, like Buddy likes to say.
Man.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
Hey.
That's what season 5 is all about. Marianne Williams says, thanks, First Sky. Thank you, Miss Williams, for always keeping us on point with updates on the legislative session and everything that you do as well on Friends of First Sky Omaha. Appreciate it very much. And we all appreciate you too. We're going to get out of here, and you guys have a great rest of the week. The sun will be out here in Omaha, Nebraska. So for my lighter skinned friends, get your sunscreen out, because it's 89 can beat down on you a little bit.
Hey.
Yeah. So the lighter skinned brothers and sisters, sometimes we call them white. And, get your sunscreen out and take care of yourselves. And everybody do that. Actually, black folks burn up too. Y'all use the sunscreen too, for sure. But take care of yourselves, and we'll see you Friday. And you guys be good, and we'll see you later.
Peace.
By the way, Vanguard. This is protected by the red